All right, let's try this. Hola. Hola y bienvenidos de nuevo al podcast Animation Revaluation. Soy su anfitrión, Lizer, y conmigo, como siempre, están Jay y James. And for English speakers, hello and welcome back to the Animation Revaluation podcast. I'm your host, Lizer, and with me, as always, are Jay and James. What's up, guys?
Saludos, salutations.
I figured
I'm honestly,
we watched
I'm
the
honestly
Spanish
like
movie.
you got me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually impressed.
Yeah,
That's-
you
that's-
impressed me. I was
got
surprised
me.
you knew what it was. Like one of the words you said. I never even heard of that.
Yeah, my Spanish isn't the best, but it's
Oh,
passable.
it's more passable than mine. I can tell you that.
How you doing, guys?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Can't complain.
Solid week.
You can
Doing
complain,
okay.
but it just won't do any
I
good.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, I think my husband tackled a customer the other day because he was caught stealing, and she she fucking like as she like we knew she was stealing, and we were like telling her to like empty out her pockets and everything, and then she was just like she just went off pretty much, and like she had like an apple that she took from us and like bit into it as she stared into the owner's face.
Oh,
And then she like she just ran for the door. Then like the door opened slowly, so like she was waiting for the door to open, and that's when the owner tackled her.
Oh.
what threw me off is you said your husband.
Yeah,
Did
that's
I
true.
Did I say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
You said my
I didn't
husband. I was like, excuse me? When did
My
this
bad.
happen? I thought we were friends. I don't know this.
I didn't even realize I said that.
I just let it flow. I was like, all right, I'm sure that'll get explained later.
Yeah.
No, I think I meant to say boss.
Oh, I see what relationship you have with your boss.
Yeah.
He said that shit
Oh.
so smooth. He's like, my husband tackled somebody. He's like,
Yeah,
Oh.
what's up?
all right.
My work husband.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty eventful though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was so into telling the story, I didn't realize what I fucking said.
I was so invested in the story that for like a solid 30 seconds I was gay.
Pretty much.
And you know what? I'm alright with that, man. You do you. How you doing, Jess?
As they go now.
I hope she heard that a lot. That's gonna be awkward, lady.
It's like, don't worry, no one listens to the podcast.
Oh, yeah, okay.
From my work, no one. Listens. That'd be bad though.
I'm gonna specifically ask her to like share it with your coworkers now.
Yeah.
Oh.
This specific episode too.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. How about
That's
you,
it. I'm
Jay?
going on Reddit.
No, not Reddit.
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face for a second.
How about you?
Mm. Nothing eventful like the like the workplace story, but I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time. I'm just kind of.
Yeah, I feel that, man.
What about you, Lizer?
I had to call the cops today. Nothing major. Well, for me.
So like
it sucked.
it's a normal thing.
Cause like somebody asked me to call the cops because like an old like homeless man harassed him and like spit on him.
Oh,
So like I had to
Jesus.
do that, and then the
Yeah.
cops showed up like 2 hours later and the guy was long gone. It's like, thanks guys.
2 hours.
Like on the dot,
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's 2 hours for a non-emergency.
Yeah. But it's like they timed that shit on the dot.
No, yeah, they do. It's like this is the maximum amount of hours that has to go by for us to come. So it's just like we're gonna come at the last like 2 hours on the dot.
That's what she said.
Yeah. That's probably the most exciting thing I'm willing to talk about on stream. That
Nice.
happened. Yeah. I don't want to get like too personal with stuff that happens in my life.
Hmm.
But one cool thing I did this week was I watched a movie.
I also watched the movie.
It was
Well, from what I hear, it was the first time for you, huh, Jay?
Yeah.
nice. So what was your
Indeed.
rating? Just jump right into
Yeah, I was like, overall, did you end up liking it without just giving us a rating, just an overall grade? Or did you have any insight of like what you like knew about it, or if you knew anything about it?
So the only thing that I actually knew about this movie was like most of the music. Everything else I knew nothing about. But I liked the movie, to put it simply.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, thanks for coming, guys.
See you guys next week.
Yeah. No, but go ahead, James. You have the floor.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna pick off a little bit from like where Jay left off, where like the story takes place in Colombia. I wasn't able to determine like at what period it took place because it seemed like it was, especially when
Certain events happen.
certain events happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's based
Uh,
on like a real life thing, so it does have a specific set point. I just can't remember it.
Well, I'll go into the movie a bit more, where it starts off with Alma Madrigal and I guess her granddaughter Maribel Madrigal, and pretty much they're telling a story about how their Encanto and Miracle came together. Pretty much, the her and the abuelos village was attacked by some kind of like armed forces, I guess, and then pretty much like they just started like pillaging the town, and then all the townspeople all left, and then pretty much they were just chased out of town, and then I guess the abuelo just tried to like fend them off, but he ended up being killed into dispute, and then because of this, they didn't really get to explain like how it got to happen. It's just more like because of the sudden loss and all the emotion. This just regular candle, because the raid happened at night, just turned into like a magical candle, and then this miracle was just born and created, which pushed out all the armed forces away, and pretty much it made a little secluded kind of paradise, and surrounded by mountains to kind of protect them. And also it created, I don't know if it created the house as well, but it's just kind of like it all came into like one package, where it's the mountains and like the village and like it was, I think it was just mostly the house that was just mostly the enchanted part of the Encanto. And pretty much from that point, that same day was when they were telling the stories, when Maribel gets her was supposed, at least it was the day of her gift ceremony, and I guess because she was it Alma and Pedro, they had 3 children, and all 3 of them, one being Julieta, and then there's Peppa, and then there's Bruno. But you don't know much about Bruno, at least in the beginning. um, and then I guess because of the Encanto, I guess everybody who's a Madrigal, uh, gets a power. I guess so. When Julieta got her power, she got I guess like a healing ability. So anything like she cooks, like food wise, anything that she made, um, can heal any injury or like anything really.
Mm.
And then Peppa is pretty much just like Storm from X-Men. So she could just harness the weather. It doesn't she I can't really say like how to what extent, but like the reason like why it's like always sunny and everything, I imagine was because of Peppa.
Yeah, it's dependent on her mood.
Yeah, so I guess that's the only difference between her and Storm is just that
She doesn't have like
her
full control over it.
yeah, it's just based on her emotions. And then Bruno, you find out his powers involves premonition. Pretty much, I don't know how. I guess I guess his premonition goes pretty far. But he can't really control like how far or like when it'll happen. He just knows that he can see the future and it will happen in some capacity of the way he saw it. And then all three of no, actually not. Bruno didn't have any children. Julieta and Peppa got married. Julieta married a guy named Agustin, and Peppa married someone named Felix, and both of them had 3 children. One of them being Maribel, which I mentioned. And then she had 2 older sisters. The next one being Luisa, and the other one being Isabella. And for Peppa's children, the oldest being Dolores, then it being Camilo. At this point, you know that as far as their powers go, Isabella, I guess, has I guess the way I always saw it is just pretty much she's kind of like poison ivy in a sense. So it's just she can make anything with plants. I guess particularly flowers, but as you like watch like the show, she can just make them more just than just flowers. So like I don't really know the extent of her powers apart from just anything plants. And then Luisa is pretty much just super strength. So pretty much like anything, everything like they just have Luisa do because she can do it very easily.
Yeah.
And Dolores, she has super hearing. And that's just pretty much the extent of her superpower. It's not really much she can do with that. She just I think they only really say she can listen like over a mile away. And then Camilo's a shapeshifter, so she could shape. I don't know how far extent his shapeshifting abilities are, but he can turn to like any like person that he knows, I guess. And then Antonio, well, the movie starts off with his gift ceremony is right that day. And one second. Well, I know he's kind of scared a little bit because it's his first when it's his first gift ceremony. So he's a little bit nervous, and then I didn't mention, but not Dolores, Maribel actually didn't actually get a gift compared to the other children, and it's not really explained why. It's just for some reason or another she didn't get her powers, but she doesn't let it affect her. But it still does. But she still tries her best to help out with the family.
Yeah, there's a couple of theories behind that, but we can get into that later.
Yeah, and so pretty much everybody's kind of worried if Antonio's gonna get a power because like Maribel never got it, so like they're not sure if there's like if like children are still like can get Encanto powers, I guess. But everyone reassures that it's just we'll just keep trying, keep going again, and you find out he has the power to talk I guess talk to animals. I don't know if he has any control over it, but he can communicate and understand with animals. And I know when he was feeling nervous, they made a little kind of cue about it where um he I guess he always liked animals already before he even got that power, so maybe it's just kind of just goes hands in hand with that. His power just kind of reflected him personally, so that's why his powers kind of reflected that. So like that just made me think that maybe they're just powers just kind of reflect a little bit of their personalities.
Mm.
But that's just a theory. I'm not exactly sure about that though. And then pretty much they're celebrating Antonio's and no, not Mirabel's, but Antonio's gift celebration and everything. And then Mirabel's feeling a little left out, but she starts realizing because she leaves like the party for like a second that there's like cracks in the Encanto, I guess, like in the house, in the casita that they just call casita. And pretty much she's kind of worried that the magic is kind of like in danger. And then she overhears her grandma pretty much saying that she's also worried about the miracle and that like she just wishes she could do something about it, but like she's not really sure what to do, so she's just kind of like worried about it all the time. So Mirabelle just goes. She wonders how she can like fix a family miracle because she doesn't even know where to start at first. So she's like, okay, well, I need some more info. So she actually goes to Dolores because like, well, like I don't know where to start, but the my cousin who hears everything, it's like she's bound to know something. And then she goes to Dolores and pretty much she tells Maribel to I guess she noticed that Luisa was a little bit off. So she goes to Luisa and I guess Luisa noticed when whenever Maribel said that there was like the magic was kind of like in the cracks were like acting up, she started feeling weak, which for Lisa is pretty new because she's usually strong all the time. And then they make like this little musical number that pretty much all the expectations and everything like go to her. So she's super strong and she can do that, but it causes like a big emotional toll on her. So much that like I don't know, like she feels like she can't really enjoy, I guess, like herself and like because she's always just like worried about expectations and then the way
Like she can't show weakness or emotion or anything because she has to be strong.
yeah, pretty much. So she can't really be like she can't really have fun because she always has to be strong.
Great song too.
Oh yeah, it was. What's it called?
Surface Pressure.
No, yeah, I was looking more into like the actress who sung it. Like if you look at her in between, like how she looks like Luisa, she looks like nothing like Luisa, but like the way she sings it, like I guess like it makes it the way she would like grunt and like I guess she really sung the way her character like in all aspects.
Yeah.
Because she was like she's like a small petite girl, but Lisa is like a tall like buff girl. So like the way she sang definitely kind of reflected as if like she was like tall big person singing,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of liked. And then when it came to like the like the soft spoken parts of whenever she's singing, it kind of reflected more about Luisa, how she kind of felt on the inside, where she didn't always want to feel strong. She just kind of wants to like have fun. And then pretty much Luisa tells Maribel about what she overheard from the grown-ups, which I kind of found funny just because like I feel like she's almost already grown up as it is.
Yeah,
So
she's
when
19 and she's like, "Oh yeah, the grown-ups." Like, what?
I was like, he's like, you're a grown up too. um, she tells that she oversees the grown-ups talking about like Bruno. So Maribel doesn't really know much about Bruno, but it's just pretty much if you want to know more about like why the Encanto's in danger, you're gonna have to find out a little bit more about Bruno. So she goes up to his tower, and then pretty much in Bruno's tower, she finds like these little kind of glass shards, which is just, I guess, Bruno had a vision of Maribel, and he didn't understand it very well. But I guess with Bruno and his visions, like everybody didn't like his power because it just like every premonition that he had, people would just take it negatively. But that wasn't really his fault or anything. It's just that like he would predict like somebody's goldfish would die, or this guy would get fat, this guy would get bald, or this I guess he predicted that her Isabella would always be perfect, and like what was it, Dolores's, I guess like the love of her life, I guess, would be engaged to another woman. So like whenever he had Maribel's vision, he knew that if anybody found out about Maribel's vision, that they would kind of like ostracize Maribel. So instead of putting Maribel, who was just a kid at the time, like making her go through that, he was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna dip, and like I'm just gonna like take any blame or anything, like have them like I guess have them ostracize Bruno himself rather than ostracize Maribel. And I kind of jumped ahead a little bit from that point because Mirabel only finds out this information when he goes over and meets Bruno, and then that's when she has that kind of like revelation where it's like, well, I need, like, you saw the vision, but I need to kind of see more to know how to fix it. So she like asks Bruno to, I guess, make another vision, and which he does. But I guess the vision that he had, it's not it was like a two-part kind of, like, it wasn't a certain vision. Like the future wasn't really like locked in place, because I guess the vision kind of portrayed a picture of Maribel in front of the casita, but one with the cracks all over and another one without. So it was like one of those like, I have one of them. I don't know what they're called. It's just like those pictures that you have if
Like
you
the
move it like to,
holographics?
yeah. It looked like one of those. So like when you move it a little bit to the left and right, it would show like one with cracks and one it wasn't. But pretty much that the fate of the Encanto and the Casita, pretty much it was all up to Maribel to fix. And then the vision portrayed, I guess in the beginning it showed a little yellow flower on, not yellow butterfly on like a plant, and then it went over to Maribel hugging her sister, but her and her sister I guess don't get along very well because everything pretty much goes Isabella's way, but whenever Maribel's like included in it, everything kind of gets a little bit wonky. So that's why like even between her Maribel and her grandma, it's kind of a bit estranged because um her abuela just kind of thinks she's kind of in the way because she kind of like puts this pressure on like everybody because like everybody's gift needs to contribute to like the miracle and to the Encanto. So like pretty much like since Maribel doesn't have a power or anything, she feels like Maribel's kind of in the way. Um and I kind of lost track there. I forgot where I left off. But I forgot I didn't mention the Guzmans,
Mhm.
which is another family from the village that gets brought up because around the same time as Antonio's gift ceremony, um it was also Isabella's and a guy named Mariano Guzman's like engagement. But you find out that Isabella doesn't actually want to be engaged with Mariano. It's just because she was just doing it because just to make the abuela happy,
Mhm.
which kind of happens. You kind of like do shit just because you want to just do it for the family. Um, so like pretty much after that, she never really confided in anybody. She just kind of accidentally like let it slip to Maribel. So like they end up like making up a bit as sisters, but like Abuela like seeing this is just more like Maribel. Like it's pretty much she started blaming Maribel more
Yeah, you tainted
because
her.
yeah. So I'm like she's no longer perfect, and then now Luisa is no longer strong, and pretty much like all this like all this that's happening is because of you. And then Maros was like, "No, it's not because of me. It's like like she loves her family. She wouldn't do anything to hurt the family." And it's pretty much she started blaming Abuela. I was like, "You don't think that she'll ever be good enough?" But even with like her sisters and the rest of her family, like she doesn't even think they're good enough either. Um, and then pretty much from then, like because of that confrontation, the cracks start like appearing all over, and then like the casita and the candle eventually like go out, and all the cracks, and then like the casita's no longer um which I also didn't mention. The thing, the casita that they live in is pretty what's the word, autonomous,
It's alive.
it's a lot, it's alive. So like what it has feelings, it can move how it can move and do whatever it could around its house. And then pretty much when the candle went out, it pretty much stopped being alive. It just turned into like a regular broken house. Um, and then because the Encanto got like destroyed, the the mountains that were there, I guess, opened up a bit. So after like doing all this, pretty much Maribel kind of like ran away. And she ended up being around the river where I guess where Abuelo Pedro died, and then what was it? Oh, her name's Alma. Like Alma, like just goes there because she hasn't been there since like whenever he died. He hasn't been there because as soon as like he died, that's when like the Encanto happened and the mountains happened. So she hasn't been like at that location for like all that time. Um, and then that's when you kind of find out because she didn't really tell anybody, but it was really hard for her um, because like all this that she wanted, like all this Encanto, and then living there with and then making like all these children and whatever, she didn't really plan on doing it by herself. She planned on like having like a life with her husband that she loved, but it just got taken a little prematurely, and all she left was kind of grief, and then the only thing that she had left was her children and this miracle that was given because of her husband. And then they kind of Maribel sees that and forgives the grandma, and then pretty much when they pretty much at the end they build up they just make another house, because it's just like it never really was the point of like everybody have powers and everything. It was just like a byproduct, pretty much. The gift the gift wasn't what made the people. It's just the people is just what were the gifts. And then whenever they finished making the house, it became alive again. And since Maribel never got a room of her own, everybody just gave her, I guess, the initials of her name. But I also construed it as like an M for their last name for Madrigal. So I was like, it just ended up working that way. So it's either M for Madrigal or M for Maribel. And then like after they did that, like the Encanto came back and everybody got their powers back. And yeah, I mean that pretty much sums up what happened.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good movie.
So I was gonna say earlier with the abuela thing. Off the top of your head, what is the abuela's power?
So as far as I understood, her power was the Encanto. So pretty much like she was kind of like the original person to get the power because I don't think the abuelo had the power, because like he died and that died triggered and then with her grief and then him dying ended up creating all this.
So,
And then it wasn't until like she realized that she was hurting the Encanto, the candle went out, because she was kind of the one also doing the damage to the Encanto of all the hostility she was kind of doing. So that's what was creating all these cracks. So when she kind of realized she was the one, that's when it got broke. So I think her power would be something more tied down to the candle, if I had to say.
So the running theory is that she doesn't actually have a power. She's just the caretaker of the candle.
Okay.
And all the power comes from the candle. And, as generations go, they do the whole ceremony thing. So seeing her treatment of Mirabel doesn't have the powers that the rest of the family does, who is basically in the same position as the grandmother. And seeing how she treats her, people were like, that's kind of fucked. But the theory is she's set to be the next matriarch, the next candle holder, basically.
Okay, that sounds a little bit close to what I was thinking, but I just thought a little bit more differently.
Yeah.
But I did think along the lines where it's just like it like I thought that she kind of had candle powers. And pretty much Maribel didn't get a power because she's gonna carry on that candle power or like control over the candle. Whenever Abuela dies, she would be the next I guess the matriarch.
Right.
Is what I would say.
There's also a theory of Mirabel was actually supposed to have a power. And if you watch, when Antonio does his ceremony, the grandmother says, whatever she says, the ritual thing that she does, and he's holding the candle the whole time. He has his hands on it, and then he has to go up to the door and turn the knob. So people think that putting your hand on the candle absorbs magic into you, and then opening your door with that magic kind of cements what your power will be. But if you watch, and people say,
she cleans her hands.
Yeah, because Disney's a real stickler for details. She actually wipes her hands on her dress before she opens her door, and then her door disappears.
Jess noticed that. And she was just like, "Oh, she wiped her hand. That's why." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "How could that?" Like, she just like she. Oh, but I don't know.
And then
It
there's
kind of.
also
I
the
understand.
there's also the the representation of like different aspects of a toxic family that Disney implemented in this movie. Like the grandmother is uh the head of household, the matriarch who started off well intentioned, but over time cared less about the well-being of her family members and more about what they look like to the public, like
What they could
status.
contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Louisa, she's the older sibling that has to
But
shoulder everything. That one's very on the
what threw me
nose.
off. Sorry for interrupting. Is just that like they made Luisa like the middle child.
Yeah.
I feel like she should have been like the older child. Like usually a lot of like at least with like with Latin culture, it's like a lot of like all of that like responsibility and everything goes to like the oldest.
So it looks
So
like
it
what
kind
they
of
did was, instead of making it that way, they took basically two aspects of what is expected of the older child: to be 100% perfect and to be the strong one in charge of everything, and just split it between the two older sisters. So
yeah.
Isabella got the perfect, and Louisa got to shoulder all the responsibility and everything.
Yeah.
And then there's Bruno and Mirabelle are both supposed to be like the black sheep that everyone blames problems on.
Yeah.
Um, what is this guy's name? Camilo.
Yeah, Camila.
He's supposed to be the like, there's always going to be one member of the family that tries to be lighthearted and make jokes of everything, even when he
The
shouldn't.
clown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It's like the you.
Yeah. There's like, you can look it up. People go like really in depth as to like what they each represent and all that. And did
Yeah.
you guys also notice that the guy that Isabella was supposed to marry kind of looks
Mariana.
like a buffer version of the grandfather?
I sort of noticed it, but he's kind of. I thought the grandpa was a little bit
Oh.
darker. But I mean, like I guess a little bit,
Yeah, but
but I didn't.
like
I didn't
when you
think
think
so though.
about the fact that the grandmother kind of set it up, she chose who Isabella was gonna marry. Like, she basically chose her own husband again. And that might be like a subconscious thing, but it would be odd for Disney to design them so similar, because as I said before, Disney's a stickler for details like that.
I don't know. I didn't really see that, but like I wouldn't get past them if they did that. I just think they look completely different. It's just like, um,
Oh, they look different, but it's
it's
close enough.
yeah. But I also think it's just because like the ethnicity,
Hey,
they're
whoa, hey, whoa, whoa.
I don't want to I don't want to go much into detail about it, but I just like I think they're a lot different, but they just have like this same ethnic features is
Mm.
what I want to say.
I mean, that could be it, 100%. I'm just,
Yeah.
just throwing things
Yeah,
out there.
it's a theory.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
game theory. All right.
Yeah.
So you've seen this before you brought it up?
Yes.
Okay, so
I
let's not start with you then. Let's start with Jay, since
Jay.
it was his first time watching it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are your thoughts, buddy?
Well, for one, I love the movie.
Nice.
That's number one. I definitely am probably gonna rewatch it later, just to go back and catch all the stuff that I kind of missed.
Oh yeah, you can
Yeah,
catch all the times that Bruno's in the background.
yeah. Um, the like not as much like, how do I put this? I necessarily don't relate to the movie at all, but I can understand because I've had friends that have been in similar situations like this, but without like the like with all the powers and stuff, but it shows the different traits of the family. Siblings fight,
Mm.
don't get along all the time. It's a natural thing,
Oh yeah.
you know. And so I there's not really much for me to explain because I think you two kind of just like hit everything like on the head. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. It was a fun watch, and I really like music.
Music's fucking busted in this movie, bro.
Oh my god, so good. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Absolutely, would watch again.
If you didn't know, I think the singer, not the singer, the songwriter who
Mhm.
made like one of their like one of like the "Don't Talk About Bruno" song, which was like on the top 100 billboards for like the fifth week in a row or something. Uh,
Gee.
I think "No Pressure" was like eighth. I wasn't sure. Um, but I the songwriter who made it also like did songs in Moana and Zootopia, I believe. And then a lot of the cast, like not like as far as like the
Wait, hold on.
directors, I'm sorry.
Hold on. My guy really
Yeah.
just said, yeah, he also did like Moana and Zootopia. Like, bro, it was Lin-Manuel Miranda, the man who wrote Hamilton, the man who starred in Hamilton.
Was he? I didn't look. I didn't know
You just
he was in
downplayed
Hamilton
that
too.
guy. So he was Hamilton. He played Alexander Hamilton. He wrote the
I
show and he
didn't.
played him.
That's cool.
He just downplayed my man's whole career. It's like, yeah, he did some stuff for Moana.
I don't know his career very well. I know him. I only know him through his works through Disney. But I mean, if he did Hamilton and direct, and it was in it, I can imagine that's why he's so good.
Yeah.
No, but I didn't mean to downplay him. I just don't know. I didn't know.
I think this one's pretty funny. You guys ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I
I have. Yes.
Yeah.
You know that's Mirabelle.
Yeah. I always find it funny. Like, everybody loves her personality in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but when it comes to her actual personality, it's like they don't like it
Polar
as much.
opposite, yeah.
Yeah, they're like polar opposites.
I was shocked when I found out that it was her playing Mirabelle because it sounds nothing like her. That's great voice work.
Oh yeah.
What about you, James? What's your thoughts?
Well, unlike Jay, what brought me to this movie because a lot of their culture is actually a lot of the culture that I have.
Wow, really?
Like the Encanto, yeah, which is why I picked it. It took place in Colombia, so like that's a major part of my culture. So like that was like one of the main things that brought it up to me, and I can when that was just like even I guess all the food that they had, like I've had all that food.
Bro, tell me
and
those
it's
arepas
just
didn't look
it's
delicious.
they're effing delicious.
They looked so good.
What now?
The things that Mirabelle's mom was making,
The arepas con queso.
that like she
They're
would make them, the little circular things and give it to the
it's
people. They would heal.
like
Yeah.
it's like crack. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh my god.
I've been to
I-
Colombia.
I would
Like
eat those all the time. Sorry, Jay.
I've been to Colombia. I like it there.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just humid all the time.
Yeah.
I know. I haven't gone since I was 5. I wanted to go again. I just don't like. I don't know. I bet it's changed so much.
Mm.
I barely ever left my state.
But I mean, apart from that, later. I did like this movie a lot. Um, I would still I would rate it an 8 though. Not as high as Jay. I feel like it makes me I heard that there might make a series
Yeah,
for it.
they're looking
And
into it.
I hope so. Like I know you find out little bits and pieces. I know if you didn't know that Luisa's room, they didn't really show or anything about it, but in her room, I guess there's like a book that was kind of like canon to the story. And then you see a little glimpse of Lisa's room, and she has like a circus, like a little circus, little theme kind of thing going on in her room. So like it kind of like what you kind of saw a little bit from um, whenever she was singing the No Pressure song.
Mhm.
Um, it kind of like a little glimpse and theme of that is like her room. So it's just pretty much everything that she kind of like doesn't really show or hide. Um, it's like in her room. So like I do hope that they do like a little series to kind of portray that and
Yeah.
like a little bit more details into like each more of the characters, more about like I would rather also know a little bit more about Bruno and how like I don't think we mentioned it, but Dolores ends up getting together with Mariano because that was the guy that she that he was the one that was engaged to somebody else, and that somebody else was the sister. So now that they're no longer together, the knight can be with Dolores.
Yeah, I was looking up about them doing the series. Apparently the last update they had for like how they would want to go about it was them saying they wanted Dolores to be the main character. I don't know how I feel about that because I didn't find
Yeah.
her super interesting. So to have it like a new story from her point of view, it was like I would like it if they just kept it as Mirabelle and then adventures with her family. But I mean,
They
who
could be.
knows? Who knows? Could be
I
good.
wouldn't mind that.
I just don't find Dolores super, you know, super exciting as a character. Like what her power is to be nosy.
I think it'd be better if they did like a little kind of shorts of each character.
That would be
I think
cool, yeah.
I think that'd be cool. And
Yeah.
then maybe like not do like another like Maribel as a star. It's just kind of like she's kind of like a little in the background, but it's just like everything kind of goes on how it does.
Mhm.
And then maybe who knows, there'll be another Encanto too. But I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Encanto
They just make
2.
Antonio the main character, and it's just fucking. It's basically a remake of Go Diego Go.
Oh, I forgot. Did you guys know that the toucan? I didn't know his name, so I had to look it up. But the toucan that Tony has, Pico, is voiced by Alan Tudyk,
Yeah.
which I thought was crazy. I was like, wow, I didn't even think that. I was like, that's crazy. I didn't even think much of the toucan. It was just kind of it was just there.
It's like Bruno is voiced by John Leguizamo. It's like huge for Spanish people, basically.
A lot of the like all the actresses were Colombian actresses.
Yeah. And a lot of them, well, not a lot, but a couple of them, did the Spanish dubbing for the film as well when it was released in Spanish-speaking countries.
Yeah.
They just redid it themselves instead of hiring another actor. I think that for the singing they would have to replace them. But the speaking, I know the grandmother for sure.
The grandmother. Yeah.
And Mirabelle's mom for sure. And I think maybe one other one.
That was the only thing that kind of like was like a little bit that kind of offset me, like compared to like Coco. Like I wish Maribel was able to do the Spanish dub, or else like I would have liked the Spanish dub more because like whenever they did the Spanish dub for Coco, a lot of like the same people just like they were the same people doing the Spanish dub, the same doing English dub.
Yeah.
So like when I ever heard it in Spanish, it sounded just as good because even when they sung the songs, they were also in Spanish. And like they also sounded good, even at times a little bit better compared to whenever they sang it in English.
Oh, definitely. I heard the comparison of when like the grandmother was on stage, that one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
So
In
that was like the
Spanish.
only thing that was the only thing that threw it off, because I was like, it's a Spanish movie, kind of like Coco was. So like I wish they did a little bit more detail in that aspect, because that's something I kind of expected whenever like they did Coco. They kind of set the bar right there.
Have you seen
So I
Coco?
kind of
Jay?
No.
We gotta watch that sometime too.
I was like, oh,
Coco and
coincidence.
Book of Life.
Oh
Book of Life
yeah.
is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I own both of those movies. I actually loved Book of Life,
Oh, it's
and
so
then
good.
when Coco came out, and I actually still like Book of Life better.
Yeah.
But I think the music is better at Coco for sure.
Oh yeah, it's a
yeah.
musical movie. Book of Life
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah.
So you gave it an 8,
Yeah.
and Jay, you gave it a
9, I think.
Nine.
a 9.
Yes.
I think when I first watched it, and like I watched it when it first came out, I was ecstatic about like the references to the culture and stuff. I think if this would have been my first time watching it, I probably would have said 10, just because I was happy about that kind of stuff, like the representation.
Yeah.
But you know, ignoring the representation stuff and just basing it on what the movie is, I'd probably say like an 8. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. I know it's not
like
the
how
best
they're-
thing I've ever seen, but
all their reference that all Colombians like coffee. Even
yeah,
the kids
even the
that
little
drink
kid,
coffee.
he's like fucking
Yeah.
tweaking.
I mean, it's true, but still.
But it's a very relatable movie. Like the first time I heard Surface Pressure, I was on the brink of tears. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You sent it to me immediately too.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about Encanto. And I was like, I'll just wait and eventually I'll watch it. And
Sure enough.
Yeah. but that song goes hard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like the Don't Talk About Bruno hits a lot harder, at least for a lot of people.
It's just catchier. That one's like
Yeah.
the earworm one, but like
Yeah.
Surface Pressure is the one that like kind of hits you.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you're talking about that aspect, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Especially like being the older sibling and like relating to that so hard. It's like, yeah. But all around, like it seems we all really liked it. It was a great movie. I'm hoping to see a series, or I don't know how they can do a sequel. I think a sequel wouldn't work very well. I think a series would work better.
Do you ever catch like little details, like like how Felix would know that like how like emotionally unstable Peppa was? So like whenever like she knew like she was like gonna like be upset, he would like offer her orange juice or like get her a coffee or like calm her down right away. I thought that was very cool.
How Camilo and we
Solder?
don't talk about Bruno. He references him having a 7-foot frame. And the reason he thinks of Bruno as being so tall is because when he saw him last, he was like 5 years old. So he was tiny, and Bruno looked huge to him, and that's what's in his memory.
Ah.
And he he's constantly making fun of his father for being short. Like he shapeshifts into his father like half size at one point in the movie. And then you get the Bruno reveal of what Bruno really looks like, and he's shorter than the father. But meanwhile, he's 7 foot tall. Oh.
I was just surprised that Maribel never saw Bruno, considering like him and Camilo and Maribel are the same age.
Yeah, I think it's just like she was so young, and he was like kind of ostracized already by the family, that as soon as he got that vision, he just left. He avoided her, so she really doesn't know much about him.
Probably, yeah.
But anyone have anything else to add before I jump into what we'll be watching next?
You have the floor, I think.
Yes, sir.
All right. So last week, Jay brought us Arcane, and that had some, family dynamic stuff happening, like with Jinx and Vi. That was the clash.
And 9 out of 9 Annie Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had their clash. There was the whole, adoptive father thing that happened, losing both of her adoptive fathers when it came to Jinx. The tension of the family ties. Then we get to this, and more of a wholesome story, but still like straining family relationships and that kind of thing. So I thought it would be a good idea to like keep going with like the family vibes, but I wanted to keep it more wholesome. So my choice for what we would be watching next week was a lie. We're watching Elf and Lied.
You bastard.
Guys, believe it or not, this was actually on my list of things to suggest. I love this shit. I was this shit like it's fucking like people drink coffee.
I couldn't get past the first episode.
You gotta learn to date.
Oh yeah. You gotta join us for a watch party.
Oh yeah. You gotta learn to date, buddy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I only know like some context of what it is, not much.
Oh, this shit's so good.
I mean, if you can't watch it because it's like too gory for you,
It's too gory
I
for
can
you.
understand.
I understand. Yeah.
No, I've seen more gory stuff at this point. I mean, you guys made me watch another, and it wasn't anything near that though. But I'm just saying, it's like I'll just push through it. It's been on my list to watch, but at the same time, I mean, like I'm not like I wasn't in a hurry to watch.
Yeah. But yeah, content warning. This is a show that has blood, and
Rated M for
gore,
mature.
Couple titties here and there. Like, don't let your kids watch this without parental supervision. It's good
Parental
though.
vision is advised.
It's good though. I've seen it I think twice.
I think this will be number 4.
Nice.
Don't quote me on that. Maybe number 3.
And James has watched one episode.
I've seen one episode and a couple clips of other things that happened.
It was a toss up between this and fucking Chobits, and those are two totally like opposite sides of the spectrum. And I was like, I'm going for Elf and Lead.
I think you picked a better one because I watched Chobit, so I actually don't remember much.
It's just kind of boring, honestly. It's a good show, but it's like I don't think it would be good for the podcast.
It's like so wholesome.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more wholesome than this, but almost like it's too wholesome.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're done here. Tune in next week for that, where James will get queasy.
Yeah.
Making people uncomfortable is someone's specialty, and it's not mine.
Well, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, look forward to it. And that's it for now. Have a good one.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.